Hey, in this video, I'm gonna go over the best hydration strategies to really allow your cells to function at their best and allow your body to drain and detox. You see, when it comes to hydration, it's not just about getting more water into the cells, which is really important. We need water for all metabolic functions, but also it's really important to use water to help drain and detox the different toxins that we're exposed to on a regular basis. You know, we want things moving through our body like a river, not being stagnant like a pond. Water helps things move through our system, and that's so important, especially with how we're being bombarded with toxins in our society today. So let's start with our hydration talk about actually what kind of filtration we want on our water. As much as possible, we want to minimize our exposure to drinking out of plastic cups. So even buying plastic water bottles, there's BPA, there's different phthalates and these xenoestrogens that are in the plastics. And so these plastic compounds get into our system and they trigger inflammation. So they are a potent toxin. So even if it's a really good brand of water, like Fiji water, that's the type of water I typically buy when, you know, I have to, like if I'm in an airport or something. The Fiji water is good quality water, but then it's put in a plastic container. And now you have phthalates and chemicals that are leaching from the plastic into the water. So as much as possible, you know, we want 90% of the water that we're drinking on a regular basis to be really well filtered water without plastic compounds. So it's really important to have a good water filtration system in order to do that, so you're not having to buy water all the time. So you can get a steam distillation system. That's actually a really good way to get all the chemicals out of the water. So distillation takes all the chemicals out, and that's key. You know, your typical tap water has fluoride, chlorine, heavy metals, pharmaceutical products, all kinds of toxins that are detrimental to our health. I don't recommend drinking tap water. I recommend drinking some sort of really good well-filtered water. Steam distilled water is a really good approach. You can also get a reverse osmosis water system. It's also a very good way of filtering, cleaning your water. And then third, but definitely not as good as distilled or reverse osmosis, would be some sort of good carbon filtration. Okay, if it's filtered through carbon, it takes out a good amount of the chemicals, but steam distilled takes all of them out, so that's the best. Reverse osmosis would be second best. Now, one other thing you can add is structured water, okay? And so structured water is basically water that's in a different phase, right? It's kind of like the water that we get when we eat a piece of fruit. It's actually able to penetrate. It's basically water that's alive. And it's able to penetrate the cells more effectively and hydrate the cells and pull toxins from the cells. So we get it when we're eating fruits and vegetables, but if you want to drink structured water, there's actually a little device called analemma, and that analemma you can actually stir in your water, okay? It's like a little stirring device and will structure the water. You can also get a system that you put on your home filtration that structures the water. That's actually what I have in my house. And that makes the water more hydrating to the cells, so you get greater benefits. So you want to get all the chemicals and toxins out, but then if you can structure it, that's even better, okay? And so number two, drink early in the day. So best thing to do when it comes to hydration is hydrate early in the day. When you wake up in the morning, all of us are dehydrated because we've been breathing out water vapor all night long. So when we wake up, we actually need to rehydrate our system. So I recommend drinking at least 8 to 16 ounces of water in the morning before you even think about food. And so you may be somebody that intermittent fasts like me. I usually don't eat anything until 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and I just focus on hydration early in the day. So you may be that person, or you may want to eat a breakfast. Let's say you wake up at 7, you want to eat at 8 a.m. At least the first 30 minutes, really try to make sure you're hydrating your body really well in that first 30 minutes after waking, making sure you're getting at least 8 to 16 ounces of water during that period of time. And then you start drinking between meals. So I always recommend cutting off water about 10 minutes before a meal, unless you need to take a little bit of supplements, okay? So if you need a little bit of water to swallow some pills, swallow some supplements or medication or whatever it is, that's fine. But drink as little as possible with the meal. Why? Because the water will actually dilute your stomach acid and won't allow you to digest your meal effectively. So cut water off, okay, at least 10 minutes at the very minimum before you start eating, unless it's taking a small amount for some supplements. And then wait an hour, ideally, after you eat before you start really hydrating your body. If you're really thirsty, you need to take a little bit, that's fine. But ideally, in your meals, you're getting a lot of fruits and vegetables and lots of things that already have some hydration in them, so that way you don't feel thirsty and need to drink with your meal. And that's going to help set you up for good digestion. But about an hour or so after you finish your food, you're digesting it, it's moving through your system, now you can start to rehydrate. Okay, and especially 2 to 3 hours after you eat, that's a good time if you really want to push more water into your system. That's a good time to do it. And again, adding more water into your system away from meals can be really helpful for moving your bowels, for helping urinate out toxins and chemicals. So if your goal is, hey, I want really good cell hydration, you may not need to flush your system with water. But if you want to also make sure you're peeing and pooping a lot of toxins out, flushing your system with water, particularly early in the day, away from meals, or between a meal, okay, away from meals is the best time to do it. I'll often drink, 64 ounces of water before I ever eat anything throughout the course of the day. Now, I recommend drinking at least 64 ounces of water per day, okay? They say, drink at least half your body weight in ounces, and I'm in agreement with that, but at least 64 ounces, I think, of water for the average individual. For me, I'll often drink, that's a half a gallon. I'll often drink half a gallon to even a gallon of water before I break my fast, right? From the time I wake up to the time I break my fast at, let's say, 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. That hydration allows me to really remove a lot of toxic chemicals from my system. Now, I don't want to overhydrate my system, so I'll add a little bit of salt, a little bit of sea salt to my water, and that can be really beneficial. Or I'll take an electrolyte packet like the Element electrolytes, which are my favorite. They have the right ratio of sodium, potassium, as well as magnesium in them. Okay, they're also flavored, so if you want like a flavored variety, I always use this before I work out, and I exercise in a fasted state. So I'm fasting typically when I exercise, but I make sure I've got the electrolytes on board because I hydrate so much, right? And if you're hydrating a lot to help remove toxins, you want to make sure you're adding back some electrolytes. It could just be as simple as taking a little bit of sea salt and putting it in your water, just like a pinch in a glass of water, and then you might even squeeze a little bit of lime. That lime will provide potassium, it'll provide a little bit of vitamin C, some magnesium, and then the salt will provide the sodium and other minerals that your body needs to have enough electrolytes in your system. So it could be something that simple, or you can get an actual electrolyte formula, electrolyte packet, ideally getting it without sugar. So I like the Element, no sugar in it, okay, flavored with stevia, tastes good. And that really works well, okay? So you can definitely do that. You can also do apple cider vinegar in your water. In particular, a lot of people do that before meals. So roughly about 10 minutes before a meal, like I was talking about, that's kind of the last drink that you want to have ideally, unless you're needing to take supplements. You put a little bit of apple cider vinegar, about 1 tablespoon per 4 ounces of water. So if you have 4 ounces of water, usually one big drink is about 2 ounces. So 4 ounces of water, so about 2 gulps. Okay, you take that with 1 tablespoon apple cider vinegar and you drink that. That will help to prime your vagus nerve, which drives up stomach acid production, bile, pancreatic enzymes, gets you really ready for the meal. And apple cider vinegar also has postbiotic compounds in it that actually reduce inflammation in the body. Now, for some individuals, they either have pain in their stomach when they do apple cider vinegar, which is typically a sign of a stomach ulcer, right? Obviously, then you'd want to avoid it. Or some individuals that have histamine issues just don't feel good when they consume apple cider vinegar. In that case, you can do something like drink a ginger tea. Just have a little bit of ginger tea, and that can be really helpful for stimulating digestive juices. So drinking that before meals can be really, really helpful. Dandelion tea, also another great one that you can utilize, and you can get whole different blends that have things like ginger, licorice root, dandelion, stuff like that. And drinking any of those kind of organic herbal teas can be beneficial for supporting digestive juice production, supporting your vagus nerve. But I would recommend doing it, before the meal. Before the meal, ideally, would be a good time to do it. Tea, if you're going to drink water or some sort of fluid with a meal, tea is not a bad idea. I know in a lot of Asian cultures, they drink green tea with their meals, for example, particularly meals earlier in the day, because green tea has some caffeine in it. And tea is something that you just kind of gently sip, right? So you're not gulping it. And again, when you're eating a meal, you don't want a lot of extra fluid because you don't want to dilute your stomach acid, bile, and pancreatic enzymes. So tea would be something you wouldn't gulp, you wouldn't drink, a large amount, you would just sip on it, and that can be a beneficial drink if you like to have something during a meal. The warmth of it will help reduce the amount that you're consuming all at once, and that will help support your digestive system. And then you can get herbs in there that also help trigger good digestion. Green tea does, ginger, we talked about some of them, licorice root. There's a whole number of different herbs that are used in herbal teas that support good digestion. So that's another really good strategy. So you want to drink a lot, but mostly between meals, okay? And ideally, as the day goes on, you're drinking less. So I really super hydrate my body early in the day, drinking lots and lots of water during my fasting window. Once I start eating, I usually drink less, okay? Although I may have an extra amount of water, let's say 2 to 3 hours after my first meal, just to kind of help my body detox, and then cutting it off about an hour or so before my next meal, my dinner. And then maybe drinking a little bit to take some supplements, some apple cider vinegar before the meal to help rev up my digestive system, consume my meal, okay? And then in the evening, I'm usually drinking herbal teas in the evening because I don't want to drink a lot of water, but I need a little bit. I enjoy a little bit. So herbal teas are really good at night, and there's different types of teas like nighty-night teas and bedtime teas that help support, have herbs that help support really good sleep. So that's usually what I like. And the warmth of the tea helps stimulate your vagus nerve and your parasympathetic nervous system to help you relax, unwind, and to help calm you for a great night's sleep. So those are really the best hydration strategies that you want to put in practice starting today. Hey, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out my channel, browse the various videos that I've done on similar topics, and also make sure you subscribe to my channel and hit the bell button. That way you get notified whenever I put up a new video training. Thanks so much for being a part of our community here, and I really hope you enjoy the videos that we're putting out on a regular basis. Be blessed.